right now, the map is 8 seats friendlier to Republicans in the House. Joe, how much is it going to matter, man?
I don't think anywhere near as much as as the Republicans think that they're going to gain out of this. I mean, just look at Texas. We've already had, and we've talked about this a couple times on previous shows. Literally, of the 5 districts, they're counting those +5 Republican districts as part of
As
that.
Republican wins, which
Part
I
of
don't
that
buy.
eight, yeah, part of that 8 seat advantage from their redistricting. 3 of those 5 seats are already, by major demographers and other people, are seen as likely to be won by Democrats. So right there, you take it down to 5. I mean, they're also, like I said, look, I was out in Iowa where there were only 2 seats in play. This isn't redistricting, but there's now 4 seats in play there. So, no, I mean, yes, it matters because if you steal a seat in South Carolina, you stole a seat in it's 1 seat less. But the thing about this, the other thing I think that's backfiring big time is the energy that they've unleashed in the Black community across the country. I mean, you and I were seeing it in Alabama and other places. I mean, look, these guys, they're holding all these urgent special sessions, not to in the gas tax in their state to lower prices at the gas
No,
pump in the
no,
middle of
but to
all this.
steal a seat
Yeah,
from
they're
Black
not
people.
holding the pres to expand Medicaid or help people with health care costs. They're not rushing. Urgent. We need to do something about what's going on in the economy and how stretched people are paycheck to paycheck. No, none of that. They're in no hurry. Oh, the Epstein files. Yeah, man. Yeah, they've been in a big hurry, a huge hurry to do something about that. No, they haven't. So none of the things that are really, like all the things that they're slow walking Epstein, they're not holding any special sessions anywhere to do things that the American people or the people of Alabama or South Carolina need. No, no, we're hurrying. They're rushing to take seats held by representatives of the Black community to zero. That's that's the big important rush. Now, there's 2 things wrong. The reason those Texas state seats are slipping of the 5, they booked them on and built them on Hispanic numbers that Trump got in 2024. Well, we all know, anybody who's listened to the show, any episode on the show knows, well, that's not happening. They're not anywhere near voting like they did in 2024. And in fact, everywhere we've seen actual voting or good polling, they're gone. They're not just back to voting against Trump and the Republicans. They're actually, their energy is increased. Why? Well, when you do mass deportation and you kill American citizens, you shoot them in the streets of Minneapolis, while you're trying to deport Latinos and Hispanics, essentially, that didn't work. And
Nope.
so now they've figured out a way and by the way, I think this is going to hurt them in Florida, that same dynamic where they're diluting certain districts by a little bit, getting same things based on where they think they were. Same in Texas too with independents. I mean, all those districts were this many independents, this many Hispanics. We'll do what we did with independents, which we won last time. This is Republicans talking, and we'll kill them with Latinos. And guess what? Neither of those 2 groups are there. And then, yeah, there were Black men who did move towards Trump in 2024. How do you make sure they don't do that again? Yet you end the Voting Rights Act and then go try to create to eliminate every district that's represented by a Black majority in those districts. You eliminate them, you wipe them out, and you get rid of the Clyburns and those people. I think there's going to be not only a huge energy in the Black community, But I think there'll be some people, some Republicans, some independents that just go like, this is just wrong. And I think you're seeing it. So no, I don't really think this is going to have the con now. Okay, so maybe it's not an 8 seat advantage. Is it turn into a 2 seat advantage for them because of all these machinations? Yeah, I guess that's possible, but I don't think so. I think the 3 seats in Texas. I think a couple of seats in Florida may now be in jeopardy for them. I think that where they think Clyburn can't win, if they just destroy,
Right.
he is somebody who has a standing in the state, and I think uh, a lot of people in South Carolina will say bullshit. We're voting for him. So we'll see. But no, I don't think this is what matters. Look, this is different than Texas and California, or even the whole thing about like at least Democrats put it in front of voters with in Virginia and in in California, and the Republicans didn't in places like Texas or in Indiana, where they said no, we're not going to do it. This is a little different in that it's just so brazen to try to eliminate every black seat in the country. And you and I've talked about this before. In 1870, there were like, I don't know, 22 um, uh, uh, black congressmen in Washington. And by 1901, there were zero. And this is the same exact thing. This isn't the usual redistricting thing. This is like, no, an urgent race to wipe out the representation of a minority group in the U.S. House of Representatives. That's what it is. It's all under the guise that the court said, yeah, you can do that if it's
Right.
partisan reasons, but it's under the guise of partisanship. But it is going back to Jim Crow. That's what they want. That's the great America they want to create.